थैंक यू नहीं बोल सकते?
नहीं बोल सकते।
गेलो आपण लाय वेटिंग फॉर लाइव स्ट्रीम डिवाइसेस अप्लाई केले आपण
काय करायला सांगा
Yeah, she's good. Really.
म्हणता जागा पकडून बसा
अच्छा हाँ then नहीं
How are you?
Last visit. Shashti was there. I've never been there. Shashtikal Lasam I was. Vijay Bhatkal Karani was also. When my wife was also.
चल रहा है ग्रेट मैन He is a replacement for
Not replacement, but I am a part of it. Pakri. गुल आपके लोग असली हम पकड़ी. हे श्याम हे दुर्गेश चंद्रावरकर दी ग्रेट माझी मामा आणि हे प्रवीण कडले हे पण महागरे आमच्या सगळ्या ह्याचे मेन आहे आणि हा श्याम हांडे म्हणून गोकर्ण धनु आणि एकंदरपर्यंत जे कॅमेरा होते हा बरे
कॅमेरा बघितला पूर्वी
बँगलोर ना नाही स्वामीजी प्रोग्राम करतात त्यांना हा असे स्वामीजींचा आणि सिंधू हा वाशिन की कधी
वाशी कार्यक्रम वाशीला पण स्वामी त्यावेळेला तुम्ही नव्हता त्या कार्यक्रमाला मी होतो चल रहा है नमस्कार
ब्लॅक जॅकेटमध्ये जे आहेत ते काटामध्ये डिटेक्ट तिथे ब्लॅक सूटमध्ये ते S.V.P. बँक बाकी कोणी मला तो व्हाईट शर्टमध्ये जो आहे अलॉंग विथ दॅट इन ब्लॅक APN पाणी
हॅलो
हॅलो हॅलो तिकडे हे all the time. मी चिकन चिकन किती देतो मटन पण किती कधी विचार करतो या विषयावर आपण वाढीव त्यानंतर ट्रेंडिंग झालं
This is my 14. Okay. I was asking somebody. Somebody said no, they not. guys handle his lab. Corporate entertainment. You have set up all this photography. But you are into this business also.
I used to handle production of various production houses. Only now you used to do.
You have to check the internet speed.
Then after I got into system level, before that I quit commercial completely. And then I did only social media.
But it's very tired.
You are the one who created this, not me. The person who is hardware center आपका IT work रहेगा. तो मेरे now I do all the video data before that automatically before that ठीक है. I did it for around 12 to 1 before that I did it for simple language. Like for example, for media officer they would say that we want all songs of pertaining to the brain something that will take. All is like and tell me along with the song. So I should be able to give them all the songs of various films. And there is a video for Rajasthan and I have that full database. I have with me. When I only do this Lalwani, Mr. Lalwani is a company which it keeps a track of all songs. No, Lalwani is a company. I take it for granted sometimes that Lalwani is known. He keeps a record of all the ads. Which kind of archive he has up to that.
So and he rents it out if somebody needs something, like old songs or
By, of course, you will have to pay him also. You will have to pay the royalty to the...
that's what I was coming to. What about the patent or like all this produce?
all that is...
Taken care of by Mr. Lalwani.
Yes, we take care of it.
Please pay the money.
Otherwise, what is the need of our service? You can now go to Google and do a search. Sometimes people for research and I want ads from different children ads. So Pani Foundation we have more than 200 TV of radio data.
Pani is owned by Pani. He is one of the trustees.
One of those.
Mostly in rural areas. There will be, I think, a lot of things.
I was supposed to pick up some
No, I got
Where's Mohan? It's on?
Honorable guests, friends and relatives, I am very happy to welcome you all to this function to celebrate the birth centenary of my father, Sadanand Bhatkal, who was born on 8th of December 1922 at Dharwad. I wish to talk about my father, whose personality was a multifaceted one. Besides his achievements in the book industry, which are legendary, he was involved in various social activities and tried to give something back to the society in each of these areas. I am indeed very glad that Mr. Durgesh Chandarkar, the chairman of SVC, and Mr. Praveen Kadle, president of KSA, are here today for this event. My father played an active role for over 2 decades in the Canara Saraswat Association and SVC Bank, the two organizations which were very close to his heart. Both the associations, organizations today, I'm happy that they are associated with this centennial celebration. My father dedicated his life to the people around him. He had inherited a desire to help people around him from his parents. He, along with his friends like Manohar Edgunji, Keshav Kambatkon, Narayan Kulkarni, and Dr. Ramesh Kulkarni, and many others, toured many areas affected by the famine in the early 1940s and rendered help to the local population while they were still students. During the early phase of his life, my father started with editing a book called Horizon, and also wrote various books like The Future of Indian Youth, with a view to spreading his ideas and issues which were agitating his mind about the freedom struggle. He also tried his hand at poetry and wrote a collection of poems called Nirmal and Other Poems. He was a born leader, and he took an active part in organizing the book trade by forming the Federation of Indian Publishers and Booksellers Associations in India during the early 1950s with the help of other leaders of the trade like Mr. P.S. Jayasinghe of the Asia Publishing House. He was the founder secretary of the Federation and later also served as its president for several terms. He brought Indian books to the notice of the world by displaying them at the Frankfurt Book Fair in 1953. It was probably the first time a developed country displayed their books at the Frankfurt Fair. In his own business, my father was responsible for publishing books like Indian Materia Medica, textbook of pharmacology, and books authored by Dr. Kosambi on Indian history, books of his professor at Bombay University, Dr. G.S. Ghurye, all of which set new benchmarks and are considered classics even today. That is over 6 to 7 decades after they were first published. Another book in this list is Ras Chandrika, a cookbook that practically every Amchi household possesses. His exposure to the events around the world was further enhanced when he was invited by Dr. Henry Kissinger, then a professor at Harvard University, to attend the Harvard International Seminar at Boston in 1959. This was followed up by a seminar in Tokyo in 1960. In both these seminars, besides delivering his own talks, he got the opportunity to interact with people from all over the world who had achieved positions of eminence in their respective fields. Unfortunately, these programs came to an end when Dr. Kissinger became Secretary of State under the Nixon administration in the US. My father edited a magazine called Indian Publisher and Bookseller for close to 30 years to disseminate information about new books, new developments in paper and printing industry, etc., to librarians, publishers, booksellers, and others interested in what may be called the knowledge industry. He also edited and published a journal, Indian Writing Today, with the help of Mr. Prabhakar Padde, to spread awareness of what was happening in literature in various Indian languages to the other regions of India and to the world at large. In 1960s, he initiated the growth of Popular Book Depot by having units in Pune, Bangalore, Sangli, Nagpur, and Delhi. Popular Book Depot truly became nation's complete and one of the largest bookshops at that point of time. He served as a trustee of the National Book Trust and was also a member of the National Book Development Council. When diplomatic ties were established between Israel and India, our Indian government sought his assistance and sent him to Israel to showcase Indian books in Jerusalem. He was also tasked with a similar mission to Dhaka when India helped in the liberation of Bangladesh. He was invited as a guest of honor at the Frankfurt Book Fair, which is the Mecca for the book industry throughout the world. He also served as the chairman of the books panel of the Export Promotion Council. Another honor that came his way was being inducted in the Hall of Fame of Indian publishing industry in early 90s. UNESCO also used his services to conduct courses for booksellers, publishers, librarians, etc. In many of the neighboring countries. He compiled and published Asian book trade directories for UNESCO. Siegfried Taubert, who directed the Frankfurt Book Fair for nearly 30 years since its inception and brought out the book Bibliopola during detailing the progress of the publishing industry over many centuries, asked my father to contribute the article in that volume. Though most of his career was about publishing and selling English language books, in his twilight years, when he was past 80, he decided to compile and publish an encyclopedia of Marathi literature while he was battling cancer. He completed this Herculean task with the able assistance of people who were like-minded and included Vasant Dahake, Prabha Ganorkar, and Jaya Dadkar. This encyclopedia became a landmark in the world of Marathi books. Talking of his other activities with regard to the SVC Bank and KSA, he was associated with SVC for nearly 25 years and was on its board first as a member, then as vice chairman and later chairman. He played an active role in helping SVC Bank overcome the problems that it faced, like all other smaller banks during the turbulent times of Harshad Mehta's scam. He took a lead in computerizing the bank's operations. My father also started a number of projects like Kala Vibhag at the Canara Saraswat Association. Well, now I would like to end this by talking about my personal relationship with him. As a youngster, I felt that as a businessman, he should have concentrated on financial success so that our organization could grow at a brisk pace. But instead of concentrating on purely economic issues like making profits, he thought differently and believed in Gandhian principles of trusteeship, which led him to help people around him. He led a life of integrity and dedication, and I now realize that it was wrong of me to judge him only in terms of financial and economic parameters. The love, affection, and respect that many people around the world have for him is the true measure of his success. In fact, many of his traits, which I thought were his failings, were his greatest assets. I take this opportunity to say that I feel very sad that I did not realize this earlier, and I didn't realize his full worth as a great human being, and I wish I could turn the clock back and apologize to him and tell him that I loved him dearly, that he was so right to have followed his principles throughout his life. He wanted to help the humanity till the end, and he did this when both my mother and he donated their bodies to medical research. This was my father, a great man both in words and deeds to his last day. Now I request some of his other friends to come and talk about him.
Just introduce.
Good evening to all. I'm Dr. Sonali. I'm from Popular Publishers Distributors. I'm the third generation of New Popular Bookshop Powai, the sublet of Popular Book Depot. I'm here on behalf of Surekha Kilpadi, who worked directly under Sadanand ma'am. I'm here to tell and speak what she wrote just before she passed away, a day before. She gave this heartfelt note. She wanted to come herself and express her gratitude for Sadanand ma'am. But unfortunately, she passed away the very next day when she sent us this WhatsApp message. She has written about her relationship with and her memories with Sadanand ma'am and her father about New Popular Bookshop. She has written, Sadanand ma'am was addressed as SGB in Popular Book Depot, where Papa Shivanand Gokarna worked from 1958 to 1976. Our early memories with Papa were him narrating us that kind, gentle and nature of Sadanand ma'am. Popular Book Depot had headquarters at Lamington Road and many branches around. Two known of us were in Nagpur and Powai. As Papa was substituting Mr. Chandavarkar in Nagpur, and later in 1972, he became the in charge of Powai branch. Fast forward to 1976, when Popular Book Depot was consolidating, they decided to sell the Powai unit to Papa, and Papa decided to take over. One of the ex-colleagues of Papa snarked that Gokarna will soon come on roads, as he doesn't know that he's buying a loss-making branch. But Papa told them that Sadanand ma'am believed in him and told him privately that he has complete confidence that it will be successful, as he's a hard worker. And yes, we did. This is the third generation of a New Popular Bookshop Powai. On 1st June 1976, Papa took over shop and it was renamed New Popular Bookshop. And Sadanand ma'am's kindness was such that at takeover, Papa had to pay only for those books which he retained using his savings at that time, which was the Provident Fund. But the rest of the furniture, fitting, etc. totally was free and handed over to him as it is. Even today, after 46 years, we have those cupboards, counters and tables as a testimony of the kindness of Sadanand ma'am. Every 1st June, Nirmala Pachi, Sadanand Ma'am, at times even Pandurang Ma'am would come by at 11 a.m. and next few hours we used to meet them, greet them and interact with them every year as we sat down for lunch. Their down-to-earth nature and their humble and soft way of speaking was something that won hearts for all of us. We always remember our visit to Anand Ashram, where both of them lived, and it was always with lunch and lots of hospitality at its best. Compassion towards all was their forte. Papa, as he shared a common love for old and rare books, it was a common scene to see Papa and them buy books from the Radiwala and rejoice that they had found some hidden treasure. When Papa passed away, that is Shivananda Gokarna, he passed away in 2007. Both of them came over and expressed gratitude for their Pavai shop, him, and treated us like family. On his birthday, following his footsteps of being kind, gentle, and humble is the greatest tribute we can give to him. I'm sure that if she would have come here, she would express more and more and would have told her experiences with him. But this is what we had, and all I could say. Thank you so much.
Sudhir. जय शंकर. आज मला फार आनंद होतोय की मी एक साक्षी म्हणून पॉप्युलरच्या तर्फे इथे उभा आहे आणि सगळ्या अतिथींना आणि रिस्पेक्टेड लोकांना मी फार आनंदाने सांगत आहे की जे सदानंद मामाने जे केलं त्याचं आणि त्यांनी आम्हाला काही जबाबदारी दिली. एक छोटंसं ब्रँच IIT पवईला माझ्या वडिलांना दिलं आणि आत्तापर्यंत आम्ही सक्सेसफुली ते चालवू शकलो आणि पुढे चालवण्याचा प्रयत्न करीन. आता अजून 2 वर्षानंतर 100 वर्ष होणार हे पॉप्युलरला. तर मी रिक्वेस्ट करतो जेवढे जण आहेत त्यांनी तर यावंच यावं. अजून किती लोकांना घेऊन येता येईल. आणि हे चित्रपुरुष सारस्वतचा एक वैभव आहे. पॉप्युलर म्हणजे आधी असं होतं की ज्याला नोकरी पाहिजे तो यायचा आणि पॉप्युलरमध्ये डायरेक्ट जॉईन करायचा किंवा युनियन बँक आणि असे काही साम्राज्य विठ्ठल बँक यांच्यात कंप्लीट म्हणतात ना की आपलं राज्य होतं आणि आजही आहे. आणि माझी मेमरीज मी काही सांगू इच्छितो. अनफॉर्च्युनेटली माझी बहीण जिने डायरेक्टली त्यांच्या अंडर काम केलं ती आज नाही आहे. माझ्या मुलीने तिचं जे आहे ते वाचलं. तर सदानंद मामाच्याबद्दल बोलायचं म्हणजे फार कमी आहे. माझ्याकडे शब्द फार कमी आहेत. त्यांनी बुक इंडस्ट्रीमध्ये ॲज अ एडिटर, ॲज अ ऑथर, ॲज अ पोएट फार काम केलं. प्लस ही पब्लिशर्स असोसिएशन, बुक सेलर्स अँड पब्लिशर्स असोसिएशन ही त्यांनी स्थापना केली. त्यांनी दादाने सांगितल्याप्रमाणे शामराव विठ्ठल बँक, KSA आणि विविध ह्याच्यात त्यांनी फार काम केलं. आज आम्ही हा 98 वर्षाचा जो आमचा काळ आहे तो आजही सेम आहे. काही पुस्तकं मी दाखवतो जे 1934ला पॉप्युलरने छापलेली. एक आहे प्राणायाम. आपण सगळ्यांना माहीत आहे की कैवल्यधाम म्हणून इन्स्टिट्यूट आहे.
त्याचं पुस्तक 1934मध्ये छापलेलं आहे. माझ्याकडे लकीली एक कॉपी आहे आणि मी आनंदाने सांगू इच्छितो की योगाचं त्यांनी त्यावेळेस छापलेलं आज मी काही छापलेलं आहे. तर ते पण पुस्तकं जे इंटरनॅशनली आणि नॅशनली फार फेमस झालं आहे. गुजरात गव्हर्मेंटने हे कंपल्सरी टेक्स्टबुक केलेलं आहे गुजरातमध्ये. मी गुजरातीमध्ये आणि हिंदीमध्ये प्लस इंग्लिशमध्ये हे पुस्तक काढलेलं आहे. तसंच हे जे पॉप्युलर स्टोरी आहे हे 2005मध्ये छापली गेली आहे. ती सगळ्यांनी प्रत मिळवण्याचा प्रयत्न करा. आणि इम्पॉर्टंट म्हणजे सदानंद मामाने एक इतिहासावरती पुस्तक लिहिलेलं होतं. सिमिलरली माझं जे आहे आत्ता एक अनकही कहानियाँ भारत भाग्य निर्माता अनकही कहानियाँ हे पब्लिश झालं. डॉक्टर मंचू मंगल प्रभात लोधा या ऑथर आहेत आणि गव्हर्नरने ते रिलीज केलं. आत्ताचे उपमुख्यमंत्री त्यांनी रिलीज केलं आणि चौपाटीवरती आपले स्पीकर राहुल नार्वेकर त्यांनी रिलीज केलं. मंगलप्रभात लोधा दोन्ही वेळेस होते. आणि हे पुस्तक मला आनंदाने सांगायला फार आनंद होतो आहे. जसं सदानंद मामाने आपले इंडियन बुक्सला विदेशात फार महत्त्व आणून दिलं आणि विकलं गेलं, तसंच हे पुस्तक इंडियन एम्बॅसीमध्ये लंडनला नेहरू सेंटरला हे विकलं गेलं आणि एका तासात 85 कॉपीज हे पाऊंडमध्ये मी विकलं. हे फार मला आनंदाने सांगावं असं वाटतं. हे सगळं फक्त आणि फक्त हे भटकळ फॅमिली यांच्या आशीर्वादाने होतं आहे. माझ्या आईवडिलांच्या, माझ्या गुरूंच्या आणि माझ्या कुलदेवच्या हे सगळ्यांच्या आशीर्वादाने होतं आणि हे परंपरा चालू राहू दे. मला आनंद आहे की माझी मुलगी सोनाली गोकर्ण, इनफॅक्ट आय शुड कॉल हर डॉक्टर सोनाली गोकर्ण, तीसुद्धा जॉईन झाली आहे. आणि ही जी आहे 100 वर्ष तर आम्ही कंप्लीट करू आणि पुढे पण ही भटकळांची जी आशीर्वाद आहे ते आम्ही कंटिन्यू करू असं मी तुमच्याकडे प्रॉमिस करतो आणि आशीर्वाद मागतो तुमच्याकडनं. प्लीज आम्हाला आशीर्वाद द्या आणि थँक्स अ लॉट.
आता मी वसंत आबाजी ढाके यांना आमंत्रण करतो की त्यांनी इथे येऊन 1-2 शब्द बोलावे. कुठेही चालेल.
हां, नमस्कार. संक्षिप्त मराठी वाङ्मय कोश त्याचे 2 खंड आणि संज्ञा संकल्पना कोश त्याचा 1 खंड, असे 3 खंड. सदानंद भटकळांचं हे फार महत्त्वाचं काम आहे असं आजही आपण म्हणू शकतो. कारण यापूर्वी इतक्या मोठ्या व्याप्तीचं काम मराठीमध्ये झालेलं नव्हतं. खरं म्हणजे एखाद्या प्रकाशकाच्या आवाक्याच्या बाहेरचं ते काम होतं. परंतु सदानंदामध्ये जी जिद्द होती आणि पलीकडे पाहण्याची जी एक दृष्टी होती त्यामुळे हे काम होऊ शकलं. आमच्याकडे आम्ही भेटायला जेव्हा गेलो तेव्हा चर्चा सुरू होती की हे काम करायचं आहे, परंतु लोक पाहिजे आपल्याला आहे, मोठं काम आहे, खूप नोंदी लिहायच्या आहेत, सगळा मराठी साहित्यामधला जो काही महत्त्वाचा असा भाग आहे तो तर यायलाच पाहिजे आहे, पण बारीक सारीक तपशीलसुद्धा यायला पाहिजे आहेत. ग्रंथकार, ग्रंथ, एखादी कविता, एखादं आंदोलन, एखादी चर्चा, अशा अनेक विषयांवर त्या कोशामध्ये मजकूर यायला पाहिजे अशी त्यांची दृष्टी होती. आणि विविध प्रकारची छायाचित्र, रेखाचित्र, म्हणजे तो काळ दाखवण्यासाठी, म्हणजे हरिनारायण आपटे यांच्या पण लक्षात कोण घेतो ही कादंबरी जेव्हा छापली गेली, पहिली आवृत्ती कशी दिसत होती, ती पानं कशी होती, हे त्यांना पाहायचं असे. आणि या कामामध्ये आम्ही त्यांच्याबरोबर भटकंती केली. पुण्याला गेलो, आळंदी, देहू, धुळे अशा विविध ठिकाणी हिंडून अक्षरशः पुण्यामधल्या एका महाविद्यालयात आम्ही गेलो. तेव्हा हे कुठं असेल तर लायब्ररीयन म्हणाला की वर कुठेतरी असेल. आम्ही गेलो, धूळ होती ती, अक्षरशः धुळीमधून काही रत्न आम्ही बाहेर काढली. जया दडकरांनी या कोशाचं काम इतकं मोठं करून ठेवलं होतं. आधी एक आखणी केलेली होती, एक मोठं वही खातं होतं, त्याला सदानंद बायबल असं म्हणायचे, की त्या बायबलमध्ये जे जे आहे ते सगळं आलं पाहिजे. ते आलंच आलं. त्यानंतरही बऱ्याच गोष्टी या कोशामध्ये येऊ शकल्या. जिद्द, त्यांच्यामध्ये एवढी जिद्द होती की हे काम झालंच पाहिजे आणि ते किती महत्त्वाचं आहे हे याची त्यांना चांगली कल्पना होती. आणि त्यामुळे अत्यंत बारकाईने सगळ्या गोष्टी पाहून त्या आपल्या कोशामध्ये यायला पाहिजेत. आणि त्यांना मुद्रण करण्याच्या दृष्टीनं सुद्धा निनाद माटे यांच्यासारखा मुद्रक मिळाला, समजून घेऊन छापणारा, हे सुद्धा एक प्रकारे या सगळ्या कोशामधलं महत्त्वाचं असं योगदान आहे. जया दडकरांनी तर खरोखर अक्षरशः पहिला खंड जो आहे तो जया दडकरांनी आणि काही भाग प्रभा गणोरकर यांनी केला. दुसरा खंड प्रभा गणोरकरांनी केला, त्यामध्ये टाकळकरबाईंची मदत झाली. तिसरा जो संज्ञा संकल्पना कोश होता यामध्येही आम्हाला आणखी काही लोक भेटले, त्यापैकी एक आशा राजवाडे म्हणून आहेत. तर अशी सगळी माणसं गोळा करणे, त्यांच्याकडून काम करून घेणे, ते नीट झालेलं असणे, या सगळ्यामागे त्यांची जिद्द होती, तळमळ होती, मराठी भाषेविषयी साहित्याविषयीची आस्था होती. आणि त्या आस्थेमुळे हा कोश फायद्यात जाईल की तोट्यात जाईल, पैसे किती खर्च होतील, पृष्ठसंख्या किती वाढेल, तुम्हाला गंमत सांगतो, हा कोश फक्त एका खंडात निघायचा होता. अगदी छोट्या छोट्या नोंदी त्यात असणार होत्या म्हणून संक्षिप्त असं नाव दिलं होतं. पण प्रत्यक्षात आपण जेव्हा आत्ता पाहाल तेव्हा एका त्या खंडाचे 3 मोठे खंड झालेले आहेत. आणि ते तीनही विद्यार्थ्यांना, प्राध्यापकांना, वाचकांना खूप महत्त्वाचे असे ठरले आहेत. आणि आजही आमचे प्राध्यापक लोक जे आहेत, ज्यांना आस्था आहे साहित्याविषयीची, मुलांना चांगलं काही शिकवायचं असतं, तर या कोशाकडे ते जातात. संज्ञा संकल्पना कोश तर आमच्या मराठीच्या प्राध्यापक मंडळीमध्ये चांगलाच म्हणजे जवळचा साथीदार म्हणता येईल अशा प्रकारचा झाला आहे. हे खूप महत्त्वाचं काम आम्ही त्यांच्यासोबत करू शकलो. त्या सगळ्या गोष्टीमध्ये त्यांनी आम्हाला सगळ्यांना अतिशय चांगलं सांभाळून घेतलं. आणि हे एक प्रकारचा माणसाच्यामधला जो एक स्वभाव असतो, तो स्वभाव किती दिलदारपणाचा असू शकतो, किती आस्थेवाईकपणाचा असू शकतो, हेही आम्ही अनुभवलं. आणि म्हणूनच हे काम एवढं मोठं आम्ही त्यांच्यासोबत करू शकलो. आज मला त्यांची आठवण होते. त्या कोश तर आम्ही नेहमीच पाहत असतो, पण केवढं मोठं काम यांनी प्रकाशन विश्वामध्ये केलेलं आहे. त्यांचे अन्य उपक्रम जे आहेत ते सगळे जाणवतात. आणि एकेका चित्रासाठी काय काय धडपड केलेली आहे या सगळ्या आठवणी आज आपल्याला येतात. तेव्हा खरोखर असं वाटतं की यांनी हे काम मराठीसाठी ते केलं आहे, ते कधीच विसरलं जाणार नाही. या कोशात भर पडावीच लागत असते, कारण सतत आपण अपडेट करत असतो. तर त्याप्रमाणे हा कोश मराठीमध्ये यापुढेही कित्येक वर्ष सुरूच राहील, यात काही शंका नाही. मला, प्रभाला, जया दडकरांना त्यांच्यासोबत एवढं काम करता आलं. खरोखर असं म्हणतो आम्ही की हा एक आमचा मोठा भाग्ययोग आहे. आणि या अशा व्यक्तिमत्वासोबत अशा प्रकारचं काम मराठीसाठी, वाङ्मयासाठी आम्ही करू शकलो, हे खरं तर आम्ही याबद्दल त्यांचे ऋणीच राहिलं पाहिजे. आणि आज हे ऋणच फक्त मला जाणवतं आणि त्या ऋणामध्येच राहावं असंही वाटतं. आज आपल्यासमोर हे सगळं मांडता आलं, याबद्दल आपले सगळ्यांचे आभार. थांबतो. धन्यवाद.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Well, I must first thank Mohan Bhatkal Ma'am and his wife Shanti Pachi, we call in our community Pachi and Ma'am. So inviting me for this wonderful function and celebrating centenary year of late Sadanand Ma'am, who was a great visionary in publication, also philanthropy, and also great social service. So although I am not very familiar with Sadanand Ma'am, to be very frank with you all, but I have heard him, and of course I met him once or twice, but I have met his father, Gampat Ma'am, used to call a Gampat Ma'am, in our community, a very small community coming from North Canara and South Canara. Whenever, those good old days, there are 3-4 firms in Bombay. They used to look for a job at that time, Business was not in our blood that time. Slowly it's creeping in our blood now. And I'm very proud of that. And that was, one is Popular Book Depot at Lamington Road. Another one, Pest Control India. I want to remember late Sripad Ma'am Nalkur. He also did a great job, thing for our community people, employing them, giving them help. Then D.A. Bazur Ma'am in Union Bank. And also Badakari Dutt Ma'am also, he helped. Like that, many Amchis, and also I think that time Crawford Bailey, the people used to come and join Crawford Bailey. People used to come. So this is, I would like to say. Coming back to Sadanand Ma'am, I have heard they have done great job. Now I am very proud that my sister's son Sudhir Gokarn is taking the legacy forward in this publication and other aspect of in this industry, and he is doing great job. Also, he is getting associated with yoga and many other areas. I am very happy and proud. And once again, thank you, Mohan Ma'am and Shanti Pachi, for your kindness inviting me for this. And on behalf of R.S.V.P Bank, because Sadanand was ex-chairman of R.S.V.P Bank, and he did a lot of good things for streamlining in a difficult times R.S.V.P Bank to come on its, on the proper shape and and all the what is called regulation. So many things he has overcome and put it on a strong footing, which we are eating all the fruits of that. So I must again remember Sadanand Ma'am's great contribution to this. And once again, Mohan Ma'am's for his calling and remembering his father. And, it was great. I learned a lot after his speech about him. And I must thank you very much and giving me an opportunity to come and address you. And once again, all the very best to you. And have a nice evening here. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, I am Rahul Murdeshwar. I am actually speaking on behalf of my father, Satish Murdeshwar. So my father had joined the Shamra Vittal Cooperative Bank in 1989 and he retired in 97 as the general manager. So he wanted to speak for Sadanand Ma'am and his role as the director of the Shamra Vittal Cooperative Bank. He was first elected to the board of directors in 1970 and he served the bank for almost 9 years as in the directorship. He was also elected as the chairman in July 1990 and he was there for 2 years, after which he chose not to seek re-election to attend to his business and social obligations which demanded his attention. He played a key role in introducing structural reforms and streamlining procedures and practices for the long-term benefit of the bank and its employees. He was also instrumental in ending a stalemate arising out of employees' demands for revision of pay and other benefits by holding several rounds of meaningful discussions with the employees and their representatives and resolve this issue in a short period of time. Mr. Bhatkal was responsible for introducing computerization in the bank, and during his time, the bank started providing demat facility to its customers. During the Harshad Mehta scam time, we were dealing with managing customers' fears. And he personally visited the suburban branches and spoke to all the customers and convinced them that the bank was safe and not involved in any of this. And they came out of that crisis. Besides this, he also initiated and organized seminars at regular intervals by inviting renowned citizens from different fields like banking, finance, academics, science and technology, music, etc., with a view to exchanging different views and benefit from their expertise. All these efforts generated a lot of goodwill for the bank and helped enhance its reputation. He remained closely associated with the bank till the last few days of his life and took great pride in being part of the bank's progress in subsequent years. On a personal note, he was a big foodie, so I would also get to know a lot of the latest joints, whether it's in Pune or Bombay, because he was very enthusiastic of finding out new things and making sure that he would feed everyone around him. And his enthusiasm was very infectious, something that he really carried and everyone around him. The one thing about Sadanand Mam was that despite his health issues, I mean, they never got in the way of whatever it is that he wanted to accomplish. And that's something which everyone has experienced, I'm sure. And the fact that all of you are here today is a tribute to that, right? All of you have had some experience of Sadanand Mam. So on this day, we really remember him and thank him for the immense contributions toward the Shamra Vittal Cooperative Bank over the years. Thank you.
Good evening. Mohan Mam, I must thank you for inviting me today here. I've been asked by Mohan Mam to represent KSA in my capacity as the current president of KSA. I was quite young compared to some of the previous speakers, and I didn't know Sadanand Mam much. Actually, I met maybe a couple of times during my student days when I had visited Popular Book Depot. But I had heard about him a lot, read about him a lot, and I had, during my younger days, I also had read his Sadanand Yatra, and I'm thankful to Mohan Mam again to present this copy today because I don't know where I had lost the earlier copy which I had bought long back. So as a president of KSA, I must say that Sadanand Mam, I believe, served 2 terms as president in 70s and had done great amount of work for KSA. He started Kala Vibhag, which is still very popular today in the KSA activities. And the encouragement which KSA through Kala Vibhag has given to some of our own Amchi artists, the music, and in development of music has been really creditable, and all credit goes to Sadanand Mam. In my capacity as the president of Chitrapur Saraswat Math, I should also thank Sadanand Mam for publishing the Guru Charitra Parampara, that is our Guru Charitra publication which Popular Book Depot started and published many editions. So I must also thank Sadanand Mam for doing this noble cause for our Math, which he did for many years. What else I can say? I think the contribution towards Marathi literature through having the Popular Book Depot, starting the Popular Book Depot, and then publication of some of the important publications has this great contribution. And I can only say that as a young boy, I had met him 2-3 times. And I still remember those days when I met him in Popular Book Depot. And his brother, of course, Ramdas Mam, in my association as a president, we got the chance, and through him also I heard a lot about Sadanand Mam. So thanks Mohan Mam for inviting me and asking me to speak here. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you, Mohan Ma'am, for giving this opportunity to speak on this occasion. I have fond memories of Sadanand Ma'am. My name is Mahesh Kalyanpur. I am the chairman of Canara Saraswat Association. So in continuation of it, what Praveen Ma'am mentioned about his association with KSA, I had the opportunity of working with Sadanand Ma'am very closely on number of projects. My memories go back to perhaps young days when we were in half pants, and I was part of the students committee of KSA, and Sadanand Ma'am we used to interact a lot with Sadanand Ma'am, and that was the first opportunity for us to interact with someone of that stature. So we used to suggest many things to him, and immediately he used to come down to our age and talk to us like friends. So for KSA, I think Kala Vibhag has been mentioned, but prior to that, in 71, census was the biggest project which was undertaken, and this was undertaken by KSA under the leadership of Sadanand Ma'am. So that was a mammoth project which was done, and it was a very detailed study and analysis which was conducted. In 1972, Kala Vibhag was set up, and there were many programs. We used to have very regular programs providing opportunities for young classical music or dance. There were painting exhibitions which were held. So that was on the art and culture front. In 1995, the holiday home was expanded. In Nasik holiday home, Sadanand Ma'am and Nirmal Pachi were regular visitors to Nasik holiday home, and they were deeply attached to the holiday home. So the suggestion for expansion of the holiday home at Nasik had come from them, and it was a befitting occasion where in 1995 the holiday home was inaugurated by Sadanand Ma'am in the expanded project. And subsequently in 1987, Chitrapur Vaibhav drama, there was KSA was the producer of this drama, and Sadanand Ma'am's under Sadanand Ma'am's leadership, that time he took over the presidentship for the second time, and during that tenure, the Chitrapur Vaibhav drama tour, lot of places were visited, and he was like a volunteer, the backstage, everything he used to help in all the activities. So I think Chitrapur Vaibhav drama, that tour, Uday Mankikar, my colleague here, he would be in a better position to explain. I think he has prepared himself, so he will be speaking on that. But Chitrapur Vaibhav was a memorable drama tour which was conducted, and it was very successful. The major project which I was associated very closely with him was in early 2000. Despite that time, I think the illness had just started, but he had called me to his place, and there were a bunch of volunteers, and he said we should restart the Chitrapur. Rao Bahadur Talmaki had prepared the family tree. So we should restart this updation of this family tree project. So that time, this was in the early 2000, KSA took up this challenge of updation of all the family trees. And then we used to have regular meetings at Sadanand Ma'am's house. There was a big form which was prepared, and he used to go meticulously under each name and joining the families and all that. So it was a good experience for me to work with him, and those memories will last forever. His one dream project which was there, which has yet to be completed, is he wanted, along with the family tree project, he wanted a Chitrapur Saraswat population register. So every birth, every death will be captured in that, along with the family tree in that project, so that you have a list of living Chitrapur Saraswat people. So that point of time, we didn't have the right software to undertake this. Now there are few softwares which are available. So I think we should restart this project, and it would be a befitting occasion on his birth centenary. We should be in a position to take up this project, and we should hopefully complete this project also. So thank you, Mohan Ma'am, for giving me opportunity to speak on this occasion. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. First, I thank Mohan Ma'am for inviting us and for arranging such a lovely evening in the memory of, Bhatkal Ma'am, what we used to call him. And it was really, when he was talking, I was really remembering it, because my association with him was only that because he was my father's very close friend, and they are born almost in the same year, 1922. This is also my father's centenary year, and they were always associated with, particularly in SVC, always together. When Bhatkal Ma'am was chairman, my father was vice chairman, and they were always together. And though I don't have much association with him, I just met him many times, several times that time, but we were college students and, not much this thing. And as Mohan Ma'am mentioned, I was also thinking the same thing, that why my father is not focusing on business, but is more focusing on the social events and doing great thing for social thing. And now, over the years, when we realized how great they were and how was their thinking was, and that was really, we respect when we think of them, that, we were from the beginning in our younger age, we were always after the materialistic gain, and we feel whatever fathers were doing was just a social cause, and whether it is not going to benefit my business. But then over the years, we really realized their vision, the way they have what is called, their thinking was so great. And what we say is that simple living and high thinking. And they really followed that. And now, when I remember him with great respect. And again, thank you, Mohan Ma'am, for inviting us and telling me to speak about him, because it was always in my heart. And the respect for him and my father, I really remembered my father when I came here, because I heard about Bhatkal Ma'am a lot from my father. Thank you so much. Thank you.
हॅलो, नमस्कार. मी उदय मंकीकर. सर्वप्रथम मी मोहन मामांना धन्यवाद देतो की त्यांनी मला इथे बोलवलं, मला बोलण्याची संधी दिली. जवळजवळ 4 वर्षानंतर मी बोलतो आहे, कारण पॅरालिसिसचा अटॅक आल्यानंतर वाचा माझी बरोबर नाही आहे. पण सदानंद मामाबद्दल बोलायचं आहे. सदानंद मामा म्हणजे एक बहुआयामी व्यक्तिमत्व, वर्सटाईल पर्सनॅलिटी. मी 1972 त्यांच्या संपर्कात आलो. त्यावेळी ते प्रेसिडेंट होते KSAचे, आणि मी यूथ कमिटीमध्ये होतो. समर्पित कार्य म्हणजे काय हे त्यांचं कार्य बघितल्यानंतर माझ्या लक्षात आलं की टोटल डेडिकेशन, डिवोशन आणि डिटर्मिनेशन आपण जे म्हणतो ते त्यांच्याकडे होतं. आणि प्रेसिडेंट म्हणून त्यांनी आपली जबाबदारी दुसऱ्यावर टाकली नाही. आपण म्हणतो ना की ग्रासरूट लेवलला जाऊन त्यांनी कार्य केलेलं आहे. 1986 कॅनरा सारस्वतचा अमृत महोत्सव झाला, आणि 87 त्यानिमित्ताने चित्रापूर वैभव हे नाटक ह्याचा एक दौरा आयोजित करण्यात आला होता. हैदराबाद, मद्रास, बेंगळूर आणि हुबळी या दौऱ्यामध्ये ते स्वतः आमच्याबरोबर होते. अगदी म्हणजे सामान उचलण्यापासून नेपथ्य करण्यापर्यंत सगळं काम त्यांनी केलं. त्यानंतर 1987मध्ये 1989 त्यावेळेला मी चिंचिणी ब्रँचमध्ये होतो बँक ऑफ इंडिया गोव्याला, खेड्यातली ब्रँच फॉर रुरल एक्सपोजर. शनिवार होता, साधारण 2-2:15 वाजले होते, हाफ डे. मी निघायच्या तयारीत होतो आणि माझे एक सहकारी आले, म्हणाले, पादराव तुका मेळपाक कोण जाणतेला येला, म्हणजे एक वृद्ध गृहस्थ तुम्हाला भेटायला आलेत. मी एकटा राहत होतो आणि मला भेटायला कोण आलं असेल म्हणून मी बाहेर आलो. सदानंद मामा बसले होते ब्रँचमध्ये. त्यांना म्हणून आश्चर्य वाटलं होतं, टोटली असं म्हणजे थकल्यासारखे झाले होते. मी म्हटलं तुम्ही जेवलात का सदानंद? नाही. म्हटलं बरं झालं, माझं पण जेवण व्हायचं आहे. आम्ही दोघंही एकत्रित जेवलो. नंतर त्यांना माझ्या घरी घेऊन गेलो आणि विश्रांती वगैरे घेतल्यानंतर त्यांना विचारलं की तुम्ही इथे येण्याचं प्रयोजन काय, कारण काय? तर म्हणे काही नाही, अरे दुसरा दौरा आयोजित केला आहे मी कर्नाटकामध्ये, तर गोव्यातसुद्धा एक प्रयोग करायचा आहे चित्रापूर वैभवचा, आणि ही जबाबदारी तू घ्यावी असं मला वाटतं. मी म्हटलं, सदानंद माम, गोव्यामध्ये मी नवीन आहे आणि मी खेड्यात आहे, कोणाचा परिचय नाही आहे, आणि या परिस्थितीमध्ये ही जबाबदारी मी कशी घेणार? तर म्हणाले, काही काळजी करू नकोस. संध्याकाळी माडगावला मला घेऊन गेले त्यांच्या मित्राकडे, केशव सिनाई कुंदी, तिकडचं पुढं म्हणजे प्रतिष्ठित व्यक्तिमत्व गोव्यातलं. त्यांची ओळख करून दिली आणि त्यांना सांगितलं की हा अमुक आहे, इथे आलेला आहे आणि याच्यावर मी जबाबदारी टाकलेली आहे, तर ह्याला तुम्ही मदत करायला हवी. ते बोलले काही हरकत नाही. त्यांनी टोकन मनी म्हणून 1,001 रुपये सदानंद मामांना दिले आणि म्हणाले, अरे तू काय काळजी करू नको, मी सर्वतोपरी मदत करतो याला. 2 दिवसांनी त्यांनी त्यांच्या घरी बोलावलं मडगावला. मडगावातली सगळी प्रतिष्ठित मंडळी तिथे हजर होती. माझी ओळख करून दिली आणि त्यांना सांगितलं की अमुक अमुक करण्यासाठी ह्याला बोलवलं आहे आणि हे काम तो करणार आहे, तर तुमच्या सर्वांची मदत त्याला हवी आहे आणि तुमची म्हणण्यापेक्षा आपण त्याला सहकार्य दिलं पाहिजे. एवढं सहकार्य मिळालं. 22 एप्रिल 1989 या दिवशी गोमंत विद्यानिकेतनमध्ये चित्रापूर वैभवचा प्रयोग झाला. 300-350 माणसं त्या प्रयोगाला हजर होती आणि H. रत्नाकर राव यांना त्या दिवशी सन्मानित करण्यात आलं तिथे. आणि म्हणजे मला विश्वासच बसला नाही की मी येऊन 4 महिने झाले तिथे गोव्यामध्ये आणि हे एवढं यश, म्हणजे 350 माणसं त्या प्रयोगाला, आणि सगळा खर्च त्यांनी केला. जवळजवळ म्हणजे 250 रुपयामध्ये थिएटर मिळालं आम्हाला त्यावेळेला, आणि सगळा खर्च जाऊन 10,000 रुपये नेट कॅश मी आमचे R.S. हुद्द्यावर त्यावेळेला चेअरमन होते त्यांना दिले. म्हटलं काय ह्या माणसाचा जनसंपर्क आहे की मुंबईत राहून गोव्यामध्ये माझी ओळख करून देतात आणि हा प्रयोग एवढा यशस्वी होतो. म्हणजे त्या माणसाचं म्हणजे कमाल आहे की मित्र कसे जोडावेत हे त्यांच्याकडून शिकायला पाहिजे. आणि दुसरं सांगायचं म्हणजे ज्योतिर्भास्कर साळगावकर यांनी त्यांच्याविषयी एक फार सुंदर वाक्य म्हटलेलं आहे. त्यांनी म्हटलं आहे की सदानंद भटकळांनी ग्रंथ विक्रेत्याचा व्यवसाय हा धंदा म्हणून नाही तर धर्म म्हणून केला. म्हणजे या एका वाक्यामध्ये हा माणूस किती महान आहे हे आपल्या लक्षात आलं पाहिजे. आणि या माणसाबरोबर मला इतकी वर्ष म्हणजे बरीच वर्ष काम केलं मी की म्हणजे माझं भाग्य आहे की अशी माणसं परत परत आपल्याला भेटत नाहीत. त्यामुळे आज त्यांच्या बर्थ सेंटिनरीच्या निमित्ताने त्यांना मी वंदन करतो आणि पुन्हा मोहन मामांना धन्यवाद देतो की आज मला बोलून इथे बोलण्याची संधी दिली. धन्यवाद.
Came about, but I always called him Dadanu, and even now Sadanand Bhatkal or any other word does not come to me. It always comes as Dadanu. So Dadanu's friend over here, who's equally his age, Keshav Mam. Keshav Mam would like to speak some words about Dadanu.
Difficult to speak. Thanks for calling me, but I told him you are putting a burden on me. Because I cannot find words to. We were classmates from Wilson High School, and both of us came there as in the last, the 8th standard, that is matriculation class only, not earlier. He came from Gokhale Education Society, and I came from Master Tutorial at Kennedy Bridge. So both of us were new to Wilson High School. And one of the things we enjoyed then was having a misal. After the school hours. And it was very nice, of course. These are all personal things, which I find. And we became great friends because he also liked literature, poetry, and same as my taste and all that. And at that time, the books were difficult to be imported because there is no exchange available. So good books were bought only for specific persons at that time. I hope I am right. That is a palkiwala. A particular book will be imported only to be given to him. And he is to get it at night to his place, and myself and he would go through some passages and important and read it. And this went on for quite some time. I want to make it very short because I find it difficult to express all my this thing. Two important occasions which about that Marathi encyclopedia people have mentioned. But what surprised me was when he wanted to start it, I said, such a big project, and he was already diagnosed with this type of problems. I said, how can you complete this type of thing? And I was at Kolhapur at my niece, and suddenly at night, he is coming from Bombay there. He said, I have to meet somebody regarding that book, the Marathi encyclopedia. And a person with that type of problems coming there all the way was really surprising. I didn't expect him at Kolhapur on that day.
Now, I'll make it very short. There are so many personal things, so much we are together, that is impossible for me to separate myself from him. Two occasions where we met. One is Mahatma Gandhi. He mentioned about the horizon which was started. And at that time, we wanted to see Gandhi. And he was at Aga Khan Palace, Pune. And myself and he went to meet Gandhi in the Aga Khan Palace. And we met Gandhi and we gave him a copy of that horizon. And Gandhi had a very tricky question to ask. He said, Rahul, thank you for the book. When you continue it, come to me. And we didn't continue it at all. That is one thing. The other occasion is more, I should say, historically important. After the Gandhiji declared that do or die, karenge ya marenge, at Gowale tank, at night, we always thought that Gandhiji speaks, he had a morning prayer. At that time, he will make some statement. So what myself, Sadanand, and Roy and company, Ramesh Kulkarni, and all of us, three or four people, went to Birla House early morning at 5:30 or so. We were there. And we were surprised. There was a very small crowd because it was not official. There was nothing. It was not a press conference. At 5:30, what is there? So we are surprised, and everybody is not speaking at all. They are just quiet. I asked one of the person there, he might be the police inspector himself, sir, what is this? Everybody is quiet. What's all this? We have come to arrest Gandhi. And at that time, the entire lines all over India were cut off. That's the only instance when you could not speak to anybody in India at all. This is a fact. So all lines are cut off. He said, none of you will get out from here till I take Gandhi out. And we stayed there. And so perhaps I am one of the few persons, I should say the only person, who was seen Gandhi being arrested for that do or die things. And we came down, and at that time there was to be a meeting addressed by Aruna Asaf Ali, and there was firing because the thing was started. And tear gas and everything. We went to Shivaji Park, there also tear gas, everything, no meeting, nothing was allowed. I mean, that's all history. But these occasions, two occasions which we saw Gandhi, and the last which I mentioned at Birla House was absolutely unique because nobody knew about it. So that's the thing. And of course, in fact, I told Mohan that I will find it difficult to speak here. Why do you call me? I was almost a household name there. I could go at any time, meet Sadanand, have tea, we would go out. One of the last few years, one day he said, when I went to his house, come on Keshav, we are going out. I said, where? At 6:30, come. We'll go to Marriott Drive and sit there. We went to Marriott Drive. We had Pani Puri at that corner. There is one well-known this thing. We'll have it there. Because we used to have it always at a Chopati, because I was a Wilson college student. So we used to meet there and have Pani Puri. And that was his favorite. So we had, and then we sat on the bench. I said, what's it? Nice, no? Let's sit here. It's nice and quiet. And while returning, I said, let us go to the place where we used to have Pani Puri. Those days, where will be that dealer, I mean, the person who serves Pani Puri, we just went and asked and came back. But these are, and I have a lot. I've been alone for hours together. And one thing is, I never asked him any personal question. And what Mohan related now about is, I should say, I don't know even 80%. So that shows, of course, I knew some things. And that is all I think. I miss him a lot.
Okay, so we've heard everyone, and we've also understood that food and enthusiasm can propel us to do not just financial things, but a lot of social things also. Food and enthusiasm can propel us towards doing a lot of good things for not just ourselves, but for others also. So with this, I hand over the microphone to Ramdas Bhatkal, and he will give, say a few things about Dadanu and vote of thanks also.
This is indeed an emotional moment for me. First, I do the main duty which I am supposed to do, and that is of thanking all those who have paid their tribute to Sadanand Dada, as I would call him. Of course, his work for Canara Saraswat Association, Shamra Vittal Bank, the Chitrapur community, Popular Book Depot, and the Gokarna family and all that has been mentioned. But I remember that when I started preparing a note about him, I would go on and on, because there are so many institutions and so many areas in which he has worked which could not be mentioned today by anyone. For example, his work for the National Book Trust was very casually mentioned, or his work for the Indian book trade as a whole, where he arranged for exhibitions both in Frankfurt and Jerusalem, was only casually mentioned, but there was great philosophy behind it. His work for the Bombay Booksellers Association, the Federation of Publishers and Booksellers Association, and in general the book trade, was enormous and cannot be described very briefly. His work of 35 years in editing Indian Publisher and Bookseller has been considered as the only documentation of that period. There are other things which have not been mentioned at all. For example, with Prabhakar Padhe, he edited 18 volumes of Indian writing today, which again was meant to show what Indian literature is. I mean, I remember Uma Shankar Joshi mentioning that he's a Gujarati writer, he's an Indian writer who writes in Gujarati. But that could be projected only when you study literature of various Indian languages. And that is what these two editors were trying to do for several years. And finally they gave up for a funny reason, which I must mention, that they found that if there was an article on Assamese literature, only the Assamese people would read it. Or if there is a article on Marathi literature, only the Marathi writers would read it, and not the others. So the main purpose was lost, and that is why he lost interest. In fact, towards the end of his life, when he wanted to devote himself to some work, I told him, why don't you restart Indian writing today, because that is really greatly required. But somehow he was obsessed with the idea of this Marathi encyclopedia about which Dahake has talked. And that is really another great work. I will not refer to any of these because they have been mentioned, and what has not been mentioned is too much, and if I start talking, it will take the whole night. So I will leave it at that. But it would be very wrong of me not to mention a few individuals as also what he has done for me. First of all, my father. It is exactly 50 years since he left us. And yet, what we call in Marathi Punyai, what my father stood for, and he was called a Dev Manus, and what he did for the community, for the people around me, for everyone he met, not necessarily community. I can go on talking about him, but that's not the purpose of this talk. But I think Sadanand inherited many of his good things and then added his own multifarious activities to it. He understood what my father had done, so as Mohan mentioned casually, he realized that Popular Book Depot was unique. In fact, even after that I have traveled all around the world and found that there is no bookshop like Popular Book Depot which kept everything from a school primer to Encyclopedia Britannica in stock. And so it was really the nation's complete bookshop slogan which he printed on our letterheads. He also gave it a Bodha Chinna or an emblem. And so it was becoming an institution. And so right now when I meet people, they say Popular is not a business house, it is an institution. And I think it is all because of what started with my father and what Sadanand continued. Sadanand also expanded the activities so much that while we had originally only Popular Book Depot on Lamington Road, we had Bombay Book Depot in Girgam, then this Powai unit, partnership in Sangli, and also we purchased shops in Bangalore and Pune. So it was fairly big conglomerate. And then we started the printing division, which Mohan looked after for many years. So we had a wholesale unit and publishing house. Now that really brings me to one aspect, which is what he did for me. There again, if I go into all the details, right from my childhood, while we were going to stage a Shivaji play, and I was maybe 8 or 9 years old, and we were managing with our domestic clothes, the pajama may be stitched a little bit and made into a surwar and kind of thing. He said, no, you can't do all that. So he sent us to Maganlal Dresswala, and then we could properly dress ourselves as Shivaji at the age of 8 or 9 and do that work. So this is just one small example. But like that, entire life, whatever he did benefited me. Whatever he could do, I could do very easily. Whatever he could not do, he encouraged me to do. And he gave me full freedom. When I was 17, I started Marathi publishing, and there is no reason why I should have been allowed to do it the way I wanted. But both my father and my brother, they gave me full freedom to decide on whom to publish, how to publish, and what to do. And in the initial period, I didn't have to worry about any of its practical aspects, but only work on the cultural aspect. And that made me. Much later also I found that there was a reference to Henry Kissinger. So Sadanand earned that participation on his own. But when he wrote to Dr. Kissinger that my brother is coming to the United States anyway, and he is being paid for by the US government, would you allow him to attend your seminar? And Dr. Kissinger agreed. Later, perhaps Mohan doesn't know, Dr. Kissinger even visited Popular Book Depot. So he established that kind of a relationship with him. So there are so many areas in which Sadanand has worked. And I cannot remember all of this, but when few days back I started preparing a note, Even pure cataloging of what he has done was an enormous job. And only last week I have recorded on All India Radio a Marathi interview on what his work is, and that will be broadcast on the 6th to mark this birth centenary. And of course, I must also thank Mohan, though it's not the proper thing to do because he's the host. But Mohan organized this, the number of speeches so that, for example, I had never knew about I knew that Keshav was with him at the time of Horizon. But this Gandhi episode was not known to me till now. Though I must tell you one small thing, not a small thing, but a major thing for me. On 8th of August 1942, he took me along, I was 7-year-old, to Gavalia tank, and putting me on his shoulders, told me, look, can you see that? That is Mahatma Gandhi, and the person next to him with that face cap is Maulana Azad, and so on. And this is my only glimpse of Gandhiji. And though I was born in Manibhavan, which is next to Manibhavan, but he had stopped coming to Manibhavan since 1933, and I was born in 1935. So this was the only occasion, and I will remember Sadanand also for this favor that he has done to me. And also his work for the various institutions, to some extent I was aware of, not in all the details, but in many ways. And when Uday was talking about Chitrapur Vaibhav, there are many other things that I remember. And also the foodie habit which someone referred to, that he would always like to, in fact, when I would visit him, well, one important thing is that was not enough was mentioned about Nirmala, because frankly, Sadanand and Nirmala were so together that it is very difficult to separate them. In fact, there was a small publishing house called Nirmala Sadanand, and I think that is how I would like to refer to them always. I would say half jocularly that if they were taken to a film and immediately separated, they would both exactly react in the same way. They were so much ekarup झालेले होते. So, and Vahini has also played a very big part in my life, and this is her centenary will be only after 2 years. And I remember both of them greatly, and if I start more, I'll be emotionally, there will be a breakdown, so I will stop here. But I thank all the speakers today, Keshav, Praveen Maham, Durgesh Chandavarkar, Gokarna, and everybody else. And I'm sure many of you have stories which are very important. In fact, I would have liked there to be a book about all the stories, not only about him, but the various institutions in which he has done the work. There is another important thing which has not been referred to, and that is in 1975 when there was emergency declared and all of us were very restless about the dictatorship. And he was very close to Durga Bhagwat and did a marvelous job at that time in the given circumstances. And because of him, I could also publish Jayaprakash Narayan's works, both Prison Diary and also his complete works. So his work is in so many fields that at least a glimpse of it we have been able to see today. So I thank you all for being here with us today. And on behalf of the Bhatkal family and Popular family, I join Mohan and Shanti in thanking all of you and for being with us. Thank you very much.
Your kind attention, please. Dinner is being served on the counter over there. Please help yourselves and happy eating. Thank you.